Okay, so this is the first of many podcasts that are aimed at GCSE Year 10 and 11 students at Lodge Park Academy for the history department. Now, if you want to go and have a look at anything else on the internet or start any revision on your own, please remember that you are doing OCR History B, and this is for your Aspects of International Relations paper. Now, before we get a little bit started on the nitty-gritty Treaty of Versailles and everything else, I want you to start thinking about what the problems were in Germany in 1918. So by the end of this podcast, you should be able to understand the issues that Germany faced and what they thought needed to happen next in 1918. So think about what we already know. Now, you should have, with your teachers, gone through the origins of the First World War. And if not, I've got them here for you just to give you a bit of a hand. So they're 1 to 9 in no particular order. So you can read them for yourselves. If you need to pause this, please do. But for example, Germany and Britain both wanted a big navy, and so they were competing. Leaders of the countries didn't trust each other. Pause this video now and spend a couple of minutes putting them into the order that you think was the most important to least important, so causes for the First World War. Now, once you've started to do this, I've made a little writing frame for you which might be helpful. So you can see here it says reasons for the First World War starting. Pause this. Go through and see if you can fill in the gaps and give it to your history teacher. If you're feeling confident, you understand the reasons the First World War started, then move on. I've put on the slideshow here a YouTube link that will be useful for you around this topic. And it leads us to our look at the British blockade during the war. Now, these are notes that affected the health of German people during or slightly after the Second World War. So we have 300,000 deaths related to malnutrition during the war among the civilian population. Civilian means people who aren't military, so aren't soldiers who are fighting. Number 2, the German government was forced to kill 1/3 of all pigs as the naval blockade cut off food to feed them. So we're looking at shortages of meat for people, but also food for livestock as well. And the blockade cut off supplies of nitrates, which stopped explosives from being able to be made, but also meant that fertilizers for farmers was stopped, and that had a big impact on crops. And then finally, in 1916, the adult meat ration was so low that it would only make 2 burgers. And so we're talking about adults in Germany not being able to eat enough properly. And so this is all adding up to how they're going to be feeling towards the end of the First World War. Again, pause this video now and take a few minutes to put them in the order that you think had the biggest impact, and your star challenge for this is to decide who would have been impacted by each of these events the most. So an extra thing that you would need to carry on with this, you can ask your teacher, or you can grab a photocopy of pages 50 or 50 to 51 of your textbook, or you can use the issues that we've looked at so far today, or use BBC Bitesize to go through and look at the issues that Germany was facing in 1918. Now, if you're not sure how to put things in order, I always say go for the 3 basic ones: social, political, and economic. So social is anything to do with people. So, for example, that might be health or housing or something like that. Political is to do with politicians and government. So how are politics being how is politics being affected by this the issues that are going on? And then the last one's economic. Economic means money. So take some time, use BBC Bitesize, any revision guides that you can get your hands on, and try and find at least 3 for each of how Germany felt at the end of the First World War. So this is just a little bit of an extra. This is something that I asked my Year 9s to do, and they found really helpful, so it might help you as well. I've suggested that people are writing to Ebert, who is the first leader of Weimar Germany, and you are going to explain to him, as a poor man or woman in Germany, the issues that you feel there are in Germany at the time. Now, this is an additional extra, but by putting yourself in the minds of people at the time, you will understand it a little bit better. And then finally, my last two questions that I would like you to consider, perhaps write a point, evidence, explain, judgment, link, paragraph 4, is who in Germany was most affected by the First World War, and how did the war impact Germany as a whole? Good luck.